It's the Eagle Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Welcome to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. And our guest today, Steve Nicholson. If you're out west a little bit, out in the Quinter area, you've probably seen Steve for a few years. Maybe people know you from teaching. You were a teacher and still are for a long time out there.
Just finished my 7th year, finished my 25th year in the classroom.
Oh, wow, that's a long time. What is it that you teach out there in Quinter?
I'm responsible for the life sciences.
Life sciences,
Biology,
and that's at the high school?
Yes, sir. 7th grade, life science, high school biology and anatomy and physiology, and then have an advanced biology section.
So you get a chance to see these kids, and I'm sure, you know, being a town like Quinter, you see them out and about around town, and they're always talking to you, and sometimes you see a lot of your former students too.
Absolutely. It's great to connect with them initially in 7th grade and watch them grow throughout high school, and then when they come back for vacations and summer or whatever else and see family, to reconnect with them.
And what made you decide to get into the teaching business? Just something you fell into?
I'm a science nerd. I'm a science nerd. That's all there is to it. I just like to talk about science.
And again, some of the kids probably do talk about it, and some of them you see go off to college somewhere after they leave here.
It is fun to see that when hopefully I had something to do with inspiring them down their career path. I always tell them, pursue your passion. You'll never work a day in your life.
Very good. Well, the reason why we brought you over here is not just to talk to you about your teaching. I'm sure we could talk biology all day since you are a science nerd.
We're gonna
actually
talk a little bit.
In a little bit, we actually are going to, in a roundabout way, I guess. We're going to talk to you about home brewing, because I guess science comes into play there with home brewing, right?
Absolutely. There's the yeast factor involved, which are living organisms, a fungi. That Saccharomyces is the kind of the fancy name for them, but they work their magic and turn the raw ingredients into beers.
So you're the biologist behind home brewing and making beer, and what, do you just come up with some kind of recipe for what we're going to talk to you about here in a moment?
No, the recipe I came up with is a cream ale style. It's a very traditional old style of beer that is pretty easy going. It's pretty low on the hops, and so pretty palatable for most people.
Now, do you brew just one beer, or do you have multiples you kind of work on? Because I know a lot of times with people who home brew, what they'll do is they'll try different ones, maybe different seasons or different flavors. Are there other ones you're working on, or that you plan on working on?
I've got a few things in the back of my head I'm working on, and going to do some experimental batches with them before I bring them on board as something available to the public. And just kind of cutting my teeth right now with my flagship beer.
So do you have people that volunteer constantly to do the sampling?
Are you? Yeah, we do. There's like, anytime you need me, just call.
You probably have heard that before many
times.
Yeah,
yep. But that's how you get into it.
Sure.
People like what you're doing, and hey, that's really good, or I'd like to try that again, and it's just the community aspect of giving to others, and if people like the beer and you can give it away and enhance their palate or their taste or their knowledge, so be it.
So, we talk about the brews, and then you're doing the brews. Did you have to buy a lot of equipment for this when you first started out to get going?
There's no way around that. It's a good significant step from home brewing of basically 5, maybe 10-gallon batches. I'm at probably the high end of home brewing in terms of a 31-gallon batch, which is 1 barrel. You go into other breweries here in Hayes and whatnot, and you're going to see much more massive sized equipment, and of course the price just goes up with that. So I kind of got in at the low end, and just because I had no idea what's the craft beer market in Northwest Kansas.
Yeah.
No one knew.
Yeah. Well, you're as you said, you're a science teacher, and the science of making beer. You just started this home brewing just because you were with friends and sat around drinking beer. So that kind of changed your life a little bit, because now you're not only into the home brewing business and the brewing business. Now you're kind of getting into the restaurant business and the community aspect of it. And I think I want to talk to you about that in the second half of the show. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to talk about Steve Nicholson and his project they've got going in the town of Quinter, and we'll be back with you and more of that in just a moment. But first, this from Hayes Med.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Hi everyone, this is Gerard Welbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours, Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour, Mondays at Old Chicago.
Welcome back to the show. This is The Forum. I'm Mike Kerner. Steve Nicholson with us, and he is from Center Pivot Restaurant and Brewery in Quinter. We're going to talk about the restaurant in the third segment of this show, but I want to talk to you a little bit about the beer part. I think that's your passion, I guess.
Absolutely.
And being a biologist, tell us a little bit about the beers that you have. Is it just one, or how many selections do you have?
Currently, I'm just making the one beer, our flagship beer, and it's a cracked pepper cream ale. So very smooth, start to finish. The peppers tasted on the end. It's not a chili beer. Those I think are too spicy. Cracked peppers, I think, a very unique flavor. You don't see it hardly ever combined with beer. And so I think that makes it pretty unique. I've got a few other ideas for some beers and some experimental batches coming up to see how those go over. And if I can develop those as well, I'd like to have 2 beers on tap. We do have 8 different beers on tap. I try to feature all Kansas crafts, where our mantra is enjoy local. And so all the Kansas beers I can get on tap, I try to do. Sometimes I'll have a neighboring state beer on tap just for some fun. Same way with what I have in the cooler. I have the usual domestics, but we try to cater to the Kansas craft beer market and promote the state in that sense.
I think that that's kind of being a big trend right now. People like to try the home brews or the independent breweries now, and it seems to be a big fad right now, or not a fad, but hopefully it lasts quite a long time.
I think it will. I think it goes back to kind of the old school. Every town had a tailor, and every town had a blacksmith, and every town had a carpenter, and every town had this, and every town had that. Well, we're trying to fill that niche of a brewery and a restaurant.
Do you have people that ask you about your beers that are not local, not in Quinter? Maybe they're in town visiting. Maybe they were from Quinter, or they're going back to maybe Oklahoma, Colorado, Nebraska, something like that, and they want to take some with them. How does that work?
We get a lot of people that come in, interstate, word of mouth, social media, all that good stuff, and ask lots of questions about what we have on tap and what we're brewing. At this point, when we started this, I had no idea what's the distribution, what's the market like in Northwest Kansas. So we're not able to let beer go out the door right now. But I do think if this continues to grow, that could change in the next year to 3, I hope.
Well, I hope so too. Anything else you'd like to add about your beers? Because I know that you guys work hard and it's your passion.
It is. It's fun. It's I love all the other brewers I've met along the way that have helped me figure out some little glitches here and there. It's a really neat band of brothers, if you will. They're all a bunch of good people that I feel privileged to call friends and share beers with.
Do you ever get a chance to go to any conferences or conventions to kind of maybe learn a little bit more or maybe see some different trends that might be on the horizon?
Every chance I get, I'm reading this or watching that and opening up the business. I haven't had the time to go and do that as much as I would like, but it is on my radar to get back to doing some of that as I can continue to grow as a brewer.
Very good. Well, we're going to join you in the third segment of this show, and we're going to talk about the restaurant a little bit more. So it's Steve Nicholson. He is with the Pivot, I'm going to make sure I get it right, the Center Pivot Brewery in Quinter. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with another segment about the restaurant here in just a minute.
an INSP original series. Why would these three men want to live their lives by a cowboy code?
What we do best is cowboy.
Tradition, dedication. But one reason is bigger than the rest.
Family. That's what life's all about.
It's a show you don't want to miss. The Cowboy Way, Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on INSP.
Hi, Scarlett here, and Eagle Radio of Hayes is sending me back to Branson September 9th through the 12th on a comfy Village Tours bus. See the fall foliage, hit the casino, and catch a roll at Lambert's Cafe. We are scheduled to see these great shows: Samson, The Hay Goods, The Acrobats of Shanghai, Clay Cooper's Music Show, The Branson Bell Cruise and Lunch Show. Singles, couples, join me September 9th through the 12th. All this for only $798. Call me at 301-2211 to reserve your seat now.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Fire in the hole!
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. By the way, if you've got a show idea, Gary would love to hear from you. You can do that at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net, gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. It's right here on the screen. Again, Steve Nicholson's with us, teacher in Quinner, middle school, some high school, I guess, too. Biology guy, and I guess got into making beer now. And I guess what? You just sat around with your friends one night and they said, "Hey, you're a biologist. Can you make us a good beer?"
It was much simpler than that. A coaching buddy of mine, we had a road trip, and he just dropped a Williams Brewing catalog in my seat and says, "You want to try it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
Okay.
And it just kind of has evolved from there.
Yeah, that's what we want to talk about in the show, is the evolution of it. You guys have opened, I guess you've got some partners involved in this, just decided one day to put a business plan together and do a restaurant and bar and kind of a community place for people of Quinner.
It's pretty much like you said. A couple of us in town kind of started talking along the same lines and realized there was a much needed place for people to come in our community, to come and sit and have a good meal and to commune and just sit and play some games. We have pitch tournaments from time to time. We have, we've watched some of the high school games that are broadcast on the live streaming and watch those sitting there eating popcorn and whatnot. And so it's just been really good to get the community together. The other partners and I, we've just been blessed to find a good location and be able to remodel it and kind of make it a more homey agricultural setting for people to come in and enjoy a hot meal and a cold beverage.
Did it turn out that you guys did the work yourself on putting this thing together?
We did most of the probably grunt work, you might say. We had to hire some electricians and some HVAC for some upgrades that the building needed. It was a building from late 1970s, and so we had to get some of those upgrades done. But most of the, like I said, the brute force work we kind of took care of, and so far it's worked out.
Well, the city of Quinner, and you know it a lot better than I do, you had maybe another restaurant that was there, and they're doing maybe 2 days a week, and I'm sure there was something else in Quinner, but really you're the only restaurant really that's open during the weekdays.
We're open Mondays and Tuesdays and off Wednesdays, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and just on Sundays from 11 to 2 is our Sunday buffet.
So people can come over there. You've got the restaurant that's going on, which opens it up. I mean, you think about brewery and your brewery, but also there's great food and a chance for people in a smaller community to gather and to get together and play some, like you said, watch some football games and talk about things. But you've got a nice restaurant too. What's the menu consist of?
The menu, we have a wonderful kitchen staff. They put out some fabulous food. The fried chicken is amazing. We have that every Friday night, and then again on Sundays typically. We'll put ham out there, hamburger steaks. We'll have some Mexican food. Sometimes we'll even do breakfast food on a Friday night or something like that. And the meatloaf is amazing, and it's just really good food. We have short order available as well. So if you just want a good burger or a really good BLT with extra bacon and all those good trimmings and homemade pork rinds. I mean, I won't eat pork rinds out of a bag, but I'll eat them from the center pivot.
Now, how do you come up with all these recipes? You let your kitchen staff do it, or did you have some that you said, this has got to be on the menu?
That's been mostly one of our partners, Rhonda. She is the kitchen manager, and we have a wonderful cooking staff with Benny and Noah and Francis, and they do a really good job in there.
You've got to love that, because you've got the community that's involved in the restaurant, and you're employing people in the community.
Yes, sir.
You have a chance to sit around and talk about things in the community, and maybe gather and watch some games, like you said, and all of that. So sometimes, you know, these things turn into really good community places to maybe get some progress done in these small towns.
We hope so. We've hosted many different meetings. The extension offices have hosted meetings in there for a lot of the farmers and ranchers. The Chamber of Commerce will come in there. I'm on a foundation board, and we'll meet in there from time to time. And well, sometimes it's just kind of a working lunch, and some of the business folk will get together on their own, and good things are going to happen.
And we should tell everybody, if they want to go over there, it's not just a restaurant, not just a bar. You also have a party room too.
We have a large party room in the back. We can hold up to probably easily 100 people in the back. We've had birthdays, we've had live music, we've had going to have a DJ. We'll see how that goes. We're just figuring out as we go.
And if people are looking for it, can they find you on Facebook or on Google? It's Center Pivot Brewery. Is that what it is?
Center Pivot Restaurant and Brewery. We're 300 Main Street in Quinter, Kansas, and we're on Facebook and all those good social media things, and probably Google too, for all I know.
That's probably right. I'd ask you for your hours again, but you gave them, and I think that people can just look it up on Facebook or Google and find out a little bit more about it.
I hope so.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in. Anything else you want to share with us about it?
Just hope people come in and give us a chance, and let us know what you think.
All right. It's Steve Nicholson, Center Pivot Restaurant and Brewery. I want to make sure we get that in the right order.
Perfect.
And you as being one of the owners, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for coming over and talking about the cool things happening in some of these local communities. Again, Steve Nicholson. I'm Mike Kerner, and this is The Forum. I'm in for Gary Shorman this week. Thanks for joining us.